Oh my goodness, look at that, it's terrifying. It's test server. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another inimical episode of the Center Beacon. This episode, we will discuss Test Server 3.7.0. We are going to take a brief look at the new medium weapon, Ion. We are also going to spend some time with the new robots, Mercury and Pursuer. And yes, sadly, pathetically, the Hellburner is back. I hate this robot, but we're going to take another look at it anyways. And we will also briefly discuss the impending weapon rebalance, to include the mighty Shocktrain. Hold on to your wigs, y'all. Here we go. Alright, first things first, I must spend the next 15 seconds conveying to y'all my deeply held hatred for the Hellburner robot. I hate the name, I hate the way it looks, and I hate what it does. A robot special ability that takes chunks out of its own health makes about as much sense as eating soup with a fork. Despite my distaste for this bot and my penchant for culinary cliches, we're going to take a look at the thing anyways. As you can see, it's not sexy. It looks like one of those undersea submersible vehicles that they explore trenches with, but with legs. If you pull up at a stoplight next to a Prius, he's not even going to race you. Okay, so here's something that's a little bit nicer. This is like Inquisitor's younger brother, still coming up in the world. I am actually not a big fan of the heavy hardpoint and too light hardpoint configurations. I just feel like it does not deal enough damage. I don't know, maybe I just suck with this thing, but I do like the bot. The special ability on this thing is really nice. This one is my favorite model. This is the Pursuer. It is fast as all get out. I'm not crazy about the 3 light weapons because, again, in today's day and age, it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but this thing is crazy fast, and I think its special ability is really going to open up some options in your gameplay when you're trying to run down different robots or get beacons. This thing is super fast. It's like plus 67% speed when you engage a special ability. Very reminiscent of the Stalker, daddy-like. America, America. I better stop before I get sued. If I sing any more of that, I'll probably get sued. Isn't it funny the things you can get sued for? You park your truck in your neighbor's pool one time and they get all litigious on you. Just be a good neighbor and help me get my damn truck out of the pool. This is the Ion. Medium slot weapon, medium range weapon. It shoots electricity. Let's take a look. Crikey! Watch as the deadly warlock stalks his prey on the savannah. That's right, ladies. I'm bilingual. I speak American and Australian. 600 meter range. Honestly, right now, it's a little more fizzle than sizzle, but try to remember that everything is level 8 on test server. Shocktrains were just like this. When I first played with Shocktrains on test server, I was like, these suck. These aren't going to be any good. And then they did Mark II, and you max them out, and it turns out they're a lot more powerful than you think. So if you see me hitting guys here, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very good, just remember you got to go up 4 more levels for Mark 1, another 12 levels for Mark 2, and it should be okay. It could be a nice compliment. You see the Zeus Lance there. That should be a nice combo. So another 600 meter option. I don't know. We'll see how it works out on live. I'm just going to hide behind this bridge here until this segment's over because people keep touching me with their lasers and they're scourging me. Speaking of scourges, that's part of the weapon rebalance we're going to talk about in the next segment. So here's the Pursuer. He's freaky fast, kind of like that sandwich place, only he's packing a whole lot more firepower than a hoagie. While we watch the Pursuer frolic about the map here, we can talk about the new and improved King of the Hill mode on test server. They've relocated some of the beacons on these maps. On maps like Yamatown and Canyon, they've added more beacon locations, and they're experimenting with having the first beacon that lights up always be the same beacon for each map, so you kind of know where to go in the beginning. That is the Pursuer's special ability known as Hunt. It allows you to simultaneously go into stealth mode and speed up by 67%. I know it looks like I sped up the footage there, but I promise you I didn't alter it in any way. I only do that to make it look like I'm playing better than I actually am. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Let's spend a few minutes talking about the upcoming weapon balance changes. I don't know if all of these were on this week's test server. A couple of them were, such as the Shocktrain, but a lot of different weapons are going to get some balancing, and you see some scourges going on the map. Lots of scourging happening, so we can talk about that one first. That is going to receive an increase in damage at point blank range. Apparently, according to the numbers, according to my stats, at point blank range, it's a 170% modifier to damage for the scourge. That's going up to 250%. Now again, that's at point blank range. We all know the numbers scale depending on distance to target, but no one knows what those numbers are going to scale to just yet. I said no one knows, damn it. Expect to see that change in update 3.7 or 3.8. Before we discuss the rest of the impending balance changes to the various weapons, let's turn our attention back to the action here. An Inquisitor Jr., kind of like a Whopper Jr. You know, you got the Whopper and then you got the Whopper Jr. A little bit less hamburger, but this Whopper Jr.'s got some special sauce. And my enemies just got a taste of that special sauce, aka special ability Hell Dive. I don't know what's with these special ability names. I'm not really crazy about the name Hell Dive. Sounds kind of dumb. I would have called it Shockwave, but I also don't have to lawyer up for the inevitable lawsuit by Hasbro, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and I think you are. So we have another new special ability here in the special ability spectrum. We've had dashes, we've had jumps, we've had all sorts of crazy things. This is another one like the Hellburner special ability that actually deals damage when you use it. Now, I don't know what the numbers are for it, but it's something to take in consideration. Like I said earlier in the video, this is not my favorite weapon configuration, but the fact that this thing explodes when you do the special ability and you can come down and just smash your opponents is definitely something to think about. You can see throughout using the special ability here in the last couple of clips, if you just let it go up and come down on its own, it'll smash. Or you can choose the time mid-jump that you want it to come down and attack your enemies. Now that opens up some interesting possibilities, giving you the ability to alter the arc of your jump in mid-air. If you mistime your jump and say you're going to land on something that's going to expose you to fire or otherwise just put you in a precarious position, you can slam that ability button again and come down and kind of hopefully head off what would have been a catastrophic jump. And if that weren't enough already, you're also getting 3 seconds of stealth. I like it. This thing is cool. While the Mercury here, aka Whopper Jr., continues to do his thing, let's talk some more about these weapon rebalances coming up. Next up is the Malot. The Malot is one of my favorite weapons. It's one of the oldest weapons in the game. If you remember the game years and years and years ago, the Malot actually used to be one of the most dominant weapons on the battlefield, if you can believe it. So it's kind of struggled of late. So what they're looking to do is add 10% damage to the Malot. I think that's going to be really helpful. I love the 800 meter range category Tempest Malots, so I'm really looking forward to that change. Those of you with poor aiming skills will appreciate this next balance. They are going to increase damage to the Gust and the Storm. Now the Storm is kind of one of those weapons that I made a little bit of fun of in previous videos, calling it the Quiet Storm, because it just didn't really seem to do enough damage. It's pretty good at taking down shields, but I think this will be a good change, giving it a little bit more of a competitive edge against powerhouse weapons like the Orkan, Terran, and Shocktrain in the medium weapon class. I find it a little ironic that when you equip defensive weapons on your robot, they take out all of the weapon buttons but leave target lock. Let's get to these last couple of weapon rebalances while my Hellburner aimlessly wanders the battlefield looking for someone to explode upon. Like this guy here, who's way too fast for me. I'm never going to catch him. Especially not with this ridiculous lag. Damn you, connection. Damn you. We need to talk about the Redeemer. Now, thus far on live, the Redeemer's performance has been somewhat unredeeming. I'm just going to give that a beat. Let that sink in. When compared to weapons like the Ember and even the Thunder at times seems to outperform the Redeemer. The Ember, of course, is going to be the ultimate choice because it has something that no other weapon has. It cuts through energy shields and physical shields alike. But the Redeemer just hasn't quite been where it's supposed to be. Now, they don't have numbers for this, but the Redeemer is going to receive a damage increase. Now, I love my Redeemer, so I'll be looking forward to this change, and much like a fine wine goes well with a good meal, I find the Redeemer pairs very nicely with the Terran. Or is it Terran? I'll have the Terran, medium well, with a bottle of your finest Redeemer. You know it's a good video when you work in not one, but 2 culinary cliches. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the Shocktrain. The Shocktrain is going to get a nerf. Now, it's not going to be a straightforward nerf like you would expect, where the damage is going to be decreased. It is going to be what I kind of think of as a cumulative nerf. The amount of damage you're going to be able to deal over the course of a match is going to be lessened by the way that they're going about this. The way they're going to tackle this is, instead of having 5 charges for your Shocktrain, you're going to have 7. Now, they're going to proportionally proportionally decrease the damage for each charge. So what that means is if you wait until it fully charges, all 7 charges are ready to fire, you still get the exact same amount of damage that you do now currently on live. But what that's going to force you to do is to wait longer. So over the course of a full match, you are not going to be able to deal as much damage in the same time frame as you can presently on live. So it's kind of an interesting and somewhat clever indirect nerf to the weapon. If you're patient, you'll still be able to hit very, very hard with a full power shot. But obviously what they're hoping happens is by forcing the Shocktrain user to wait an extra few seconds to get that last charge or two powered up, it's giving the opposing player time to maneuver to cover, or if he does get hit, it's not going to be as much damage because the weapon wasn't fully charged. Now, personally, I don't know if that's going to be enough of a nerf to this weapon to balance it properly. What I would rather see myself is the Shocktrain's ability to hit so many subsequent targets reduced. I think it should either be 1 or 2 bots at the most, they get caught up in the chain effect, or decrease the overall range of the chain effect. So that way, the Shocktrain can be used the way that it was meant to. When you have a group of robots that are really clumped up, you can punish that group, just like you can with splash weapons like the Trident. That is going to do it for me. We covered a lot of ground. I had a lot of fun making this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you like my channel, you know what you need to do. You need to subscribe, you need to comment, click on notifications, tell your friends, share these videos. The more you do that, the less my wife gets after me for sitting around playing robots on my phone, and the more I can make these videos for y'all. And as always, I will see you next time at the Center Beacon.